Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, good whatever when you're listening to your favorite, most anticipated podcast for the background of your house. Welcome. I'm in a good mood a little bit right now as I record this part of the podcast. That may shift. And I'm ready to jump right into it today. Every day, there's something new. Do you guys feel that way? Because I feel like that way every day. It's actually hard to keep up to the point where I don't even know what to cover. There's so much. So I'm just like picking and choosing what I think is important to know for right now, but that may change. And just off the jump, just giving you a quick check-in. Minnie's great. The appointment went well. She did have a seizure the other day. Oh, so that's been a bit stressful, but she's good. I thought she also got lost in the apartment somehow. Woke up, didn't see her in her bed, thought she was on the couch, wasn't there, had the fright of my life, called her, wasn't coming up. If she wasn't on the couch, I called out her name, no response. I looked down and really look at her bed and I realized she's tucked herself in, sandwiched herself in between the sheets, like in between her blanket. So please don't ever tell me that Minnie isn't a genius, because she absolutely is. And it's funny because the only way I knew where she was is because she let out her signature huff that I think a lot of dogs have. Sassy dogs, at least. So that's good. So we're all good over here. I'm doing great. You'll hear a little rant about what keeps me mentally okay later on about digging into politics more. So hopefully that helps people. Oh, fuck no. All right, all jokes aside, I'm going to try to change things up a little bit this time. And I just want to change things up in this episode a little bit. I feel like because there's just so much going on every hour of the day, I want to do like a quick snapshot roundtable of some highlights of what's in the news, because that's honestly how I like to consume it. I like to personally consume it that way. Sometimes not everything needs a whole deep dive, right? Like we don't have to sit here for fucking 20 minutes listening to me ramble on about how angry I am about something. So I'm going to try for like 30 seconds to a minute. I'm just going to see what I can do. All right, let's get into it. So this update's super exciting because I saw online that Fenty Beauty, Rihanna's makeup and like skincare and lifestyle brand, is partnering with New York Liberty, the WNBA team over in New York. I love that these big companies are sort of giving the WNBA a chance, and the New York Liberty, they're going to look great because they're going to be wearing Rihanna's makeup and stuff. So that's really exciting. Oh my gosh, everyone's going crazy about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift getting engaged. That's really cool. I don't really know much about their relationship other than, obviously than what everyone else sees. But wow, wish them all the best. Good for them. If you want your first interview to be on this podcast, joint interview, if you haven't done that yet, you're more than welcome, because I will honestly ask questions like, where do you get your pizza? Like, where do you go shopping? Or no, where do you go, like, what's your favorite, like, mom and pop, like, restaurant? You know what I mean? All that stuff like that. Or I'll be like, ooh, if she has dogs, like, I'll ask, like, dog questions. Staying on that topic, football is actually back next week. There are people in my life that are personally really excited about it. I'm personally really into it. I got really into it last year, like you guys probably, I think I talked about last episode, but the Trump administration strikes again. They fired the CDC director after a disagreement with RFK Jr., who's our health secretary, who, by the way, is looking more orange every day. I think he's starting to use that skincare routine that Trump does, because I don't know, he's looking really orange. I'm actually kind of concerned. Our health secretary. Isn't skincare like a part of health too, right? So like you make sure, oh my gosh, I hope he's using, what's that called? Sunscreen. I hope he's using the right sunscreen for his skin, because that's really horrible. I'm actually really shocked at this photo. Talk about a jump scare. And last thing, I was listening to The Breakfast Club. The Breakfast Club is like a morning radio show. I've been listening to them for years. I mean, even, wow, 10 years, maybe more. And they just said so Charlemagne, one of the hosts on the show, he refers to Hakeem Jeffries, which is the House Democrat leader who is also funding weapons for the IDF in Israel. He calls him AIPAC Shakur, like Tupac Shakur, AIPAC Shakur, and I am so down with that. Absolutely. Throw him in. I'm actually, you know what? Hakeem Jeffries he's not caught astray from me yet because he kind of flew under the radar. I'm not going to lie. I was so focused on my senators and Cory Booker voting for arms, selling arms to Israel. Still, I forgot about Hakeem Jeffries, but I didn't forget now. So now you're on my list. When I go on my rants, you're on yeah, I'm not happy, Hakeem. You messed that up too. And it's why? Why? You all run on this platform of, oh, no war. Oh, we're progressives. We're for the people. You guys are all a bunch of fucking liars. Sorry. All right. So obviously good mood over. No, let's jump right into it. And I just want to quickly just have a call out. The audio, I'm getting better at the editing and introducing subjects. I like to hope, but I will just quickly say the audio. I'm still learning, so it may be a little quieter in some places, a little louder in others. I do apologize. I did have to refilm a few things and I did have to refilm a few things because I did pop off a bit too much. That I was like, okay, I sound a little crazy. So let me dial it back in because also, as y'all know, sometimes when you yell and sometimes when you raise your voice, you don't get your point across. And that's what I was doing. I was getting angry and I was just getting mixed up. And so I had to redo a lot of this. So bear with me, be patient, and I appreciate you. But now that the round table's over, let's get right into the bullshit. With that being said, unfortunately, I do want to talk about something heavy that's going on in California right now. Over a week ago, a woman named Rebecca Haro reported that her son, Emmanuel Haro, was kidnapped in broad daylight. So Rebecca tells the police that she had to go to this sporting goods store, by the way, packed parking lot, and her 7-month-old baby, needed to get changed. So she just went out to her car to go change him, and she got attacked and lost consciousness. And when she woke up, or when she gained consciousness, she realized that Emmanuel was gone. And of course, if this happened to anybody, we would be freaking out, right? We would be frantic. We would be calling the authorities. We'd be screaming. We'd be causing a scene. Like I would be turning the joint up. Well, she just called the police, right? So she calls the police. The police show up. Everyone's frantic. A 7-month-old has gone missing. And naturally, when someone's been kidnapped, especially a child, a 7-month-old vulnerable child, everyone's in go mode. Everyone's in, we've got to get rescue teams. We've got to send out the SWAT cars. Like, we got to put the Amber Alerts out. Let's get on the news. And that's what they do. That's where it gets a bit weird because I think a lot of people felt like her interview about her son being kidnapped and missing was a bit toned down. I think a lot of the public were a bit confused. Not really any tears. It seemed very forced. She didn't seem frazzled. Like, it was just very confusing, and I'll link the video. So after telling her side of the story for, multiple times over and over again, authorities started to notice there were some inconsistencies with her story. So they started to get suspicious. So when authorities confronted her and her husband, they got shook and stopped all communication with authorities, which is very strange to me because if my kid got kidnapped, I would be working with authorities 24/7, right? I mean, moms out there, let me know. And so on August 22nd, a couple days ago, the parents were arrested. Jake Haro and Rebecca Haro were arrested on murder charges, which is absolutely crazy to me. They have not found 7-month-old Emmanuel, by the way. We're still searching for him. I want to point out no other arrests have been made and no one else the authorities haven't put any names out there for suspicion. I don't understand why people would allegedly make up something like this. This is just so outrageous. What makes you think you can get away with such a crazy lie that Your child was kidnapped and you were brutally attacked in daylight in front of a popular sports store where there were people, tons of people during the day. What, like, and I think it's just crazy that one would even allegedly come up with a plan like this. For what? What would you get out of this other than being a murderer? Well, we'll keep the pulse, and I just hope that there's justice for Emmanuel Haro. It's just so, so sad. Okay, I want to switch gears here to Abby Phillips, a CNN contributor. She has her own show on CNN. Well, she collected Agent Orange in Chief together the other day. So Donald Trump wants to change the rhetoric around slavery. He said that the museums don't accurately talk about the progression we've had since slavery. Yet I'm still trying to figure out what that progression is. I mean, let's be honest. Trump and them may have visited the Smithsonian for a photo op, but I know they did not go in and read anything because everything they're saying is a lie. They're saying it focused too much on how bad slavery was. What does that mean? Let's really, really unpack that. Too much focus on how bad slavery was. So that's telling me that slavery was pretty fucking bad, right? So if you have to say that sentence, slavery was bad. So why would you want to whitewash it? Why would you want to dilute it if slavery was bad? Say what it is. And also, we can't trust anything in this country because for the longest time as a collective group, I know everybody who is listening to this was exactly the same way as me. We had no idea what Juneteenth was. That was as current as Black Lives Matter from 5 years ago. We just found out that's a whole other enslaved people when we thought slavery was free. Juneteenth. How old am I? 31. So I was 26 when I found that out. And you're going to tell me that slavery is too bad to talk about. We have to take it out of museums. Like, hello, slavery wasn't even over when we thought it was over. Like, what? Lincoln didn't free all the slaves. Don't get me wrong. Shout out to the Emancipation Proclamation. But let's be honest, that was even limited, right? The more we're learning, it was only for enslaved people in Confederate states. So yes, slavery was bad. Slavery is bad. We should keep history as factual and accurate in our museums as much as possible, even if it makes us uncomfortable. It is an uncomfortable subject to talk about. Race, slavery, all of that. But we have to keep these uncomfortable subjects going. So yeah, I mean, at the time of reviewing the articles and getting the information, the Smithsonian they haven't released a comment yet. I don't know why. Probably too scared of this administration, which actually maybe I do know why, because they're cracking down on free speech. They're cracking down on education. They got rid of the Department of Education. They even cracked down on the Ivy Leagues. I think Harvard had to pay like 500 and Columbia had to pay like 200 million. No joke. As I was literally talking about the Smithsonian, the New York Times literally just posted an article saying that the White House listed exhibits in the Smithsonian that they found were objective as it pushed the cut references to sexuality, slavery, and immigration. So basically what you're telling me, you just want white. I'll never understand how people, like, this is just, I don't get it. I don't know. I have no words. No words. I don't even know. Like, this is fucking depressing. This one, I have to say, this story is actually the most depressing one I think I've read in a couple days. And if you're wondering how I can keep talking about this stuff and live, I think it's because I've just dealt with so much bullshit in corporate and in the workplace, from the politics to the nasty behaviors to the just long hours to the ungratefulness, that I'm so over crap, whether it's in the news, whether it's just day-to-day life. I used to take things so personally, and I used to think that how people would treat me in the workforce defined my character. And so as I just dealt with all this like aggression, microaggression, all of this bullshit in the workforce, I just learned to put up a really thick shield. And so because I have this thick shield and I've left that workplace that was multiple workplaces that were extremely toxic over the last decade, I'm looking at things so differently now. I will not let people take my peace. I protect my peace. And because I am able to protect my peace, and it took a really long time to get here, and I feel very fortunate to be able to have this time to be so outspoken about issues I'm passionate about and to sort of like educate myself further on things. Like there's just so much I didn't know, and I think that's okay. And I think if you are also in the same position as me, I mean, I get it. Listen, everybody has their own shit. People got to work. You've got to pay your bills. You've got mortgages. You got rent. You've got car payments. You have school, college loans, student loans. I get it. So you can't do what I'm doing. But I think even a simple conversation or just asking a simple question helps so much understanding another person's point of view. And I do want to say this because I think it's really important for people to hear so one doesn't feel attacked when people. I can understand. Let me back up. I can understand how someone like me saying, have these uncomfortable conversations, speak up, educate yourself. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to kind of change your mindset. It's a lot to just even Google something, because not only is it like depressing, like we've mentioned earlier, like not only is it sad to see the world as such a bad place, it can sometimes be mentally taxing on you. And it can sometimes be really uncomfortable because A, you may have voted for it, or B, you may have agreed with this positioning at the time, but it doesn't relate to you morally or whatever. You just voted for it because the party voted for it, like we've talked about on the first episode. We don't have to do that anymore. We never really had to, but in a way we kind of felt like we were forced to. At least I did. But yes, you don't have to do things publicly. Don't feel pressure to. Even just asking your older relative a simple question. I think also another way to do this is talking to someone with opposite views and picking their brain on the why. Why do you think this way? Let's really like unpack it, because it could be, a lot of the times it could be a cultural thing, it could be a belief, blah, blah, blah. But just because it's a cultural thing or a heritage thing or it was passed down to you doesn't mean you have to believe it. I just want to say that. If you feel attacked by somebody telling you need to speak up, then I think, and I'm also like, I have been probably that person to be a bit outspoken and telling people they need to speak up. I think it's now that I have this time on my hands, I can really like dig into the other side. But I also do want to say, like, don't blame a lot of the time the messenger who's asking you to do this. I think a lot of the time the person that's asking others to speak up, it's because they may be on the side of the oppressed, or they're very close to someone who is a part of that community that is oppressed, and they're tired, right? They're tired of it. You know, there has to be patience on both sides, but I think we really need to understand where everyone's coming from, especially if they're in your tight circle. There is no point of ruining friendships over this shit. And let me say that again. There is no point losing friendships over this shit. This shit meaning a select group of stupid politicians making all the rules for us. Let's just say that. Unless you're like actually like a bigoted asshole, like you're actually a hateful person, that's a different story. But if you know someone's intention, if you know your relative, and this goes beyond friendship, this is family. I know of people in my personal life who have horrible relationships with their family because they are anti-gay or they have an interracial relationship. It's true. It really does happen. And it's really unfortunate. So yeah, I think have grace, speak up, do the right thing, have conversations, ask questions, do it respectfully. But if someone pisses you off, you have the right. Listen very carefully. I'm about to be a hypocrite real quick. On behalf of the A-Files, you have the right to stick up for yourself too. Let me be clear. Because I teach Minnie this all the time. She's starting to get a little aggressive. And I'm, training her like, okay, calm down. Like, you don't have to bark at everybody. But at the end of the day, she's going to daycare. So I need my girl to be able to protect herself. Okay? So that's where we're at. I was just reflecting on a lot of things. Like, how did the Republican Party get so extreme? And even like the Democratic Party to an extent. Like, how did it all change? And I say that, I want to pick on the MAGAs real quick because it violently escalated. They violently escalated their views on immigration, deporting citizens, the dictatorship of it all. Saying, like, our president literally saying he can do whatever he wants without due process. Proud Boys running around the streets. National Guards fighting invisible crime. I mean, I don't see it. Are y'all seeing it? It's invisible. They're chilling. I'm confused. And I also think, not just because of Republicanism, but I think as well, if you want to also just attack the Democrats real quick, because that's fun to do too, it also is because of Democratic too, right? Because the Democrats are not great at messaging. They're not good at it. They're horrible at messaging. So a lot of these people's values that are voting for MAGA, like someone literally they were doing the daily, what's that? Remember the Trevor Noah show he used to have? Whoever's doing that now, that funny white guy, he's really tall and he's actually quite, he's very smart and very funny. And chiming in here, his name's Jordan Klepper. And these people were literally telling him they're voting for Trump for free healthcare, lowering the price of groceries, like for jobs. Groceries didn't go down. I was just at the store today. The prices are going up. The tariffs are going up. Everyone, I don't understand why we're here. Trump defunded Medicare, no free healthcare for you. He thinks people should work more. You can't make it up. So the only connection to me is you want free healthcare, you want jobs and stuff, but you want it for people that look like you. Let's be honest. And I feel bad because they do need healthcare. We all need free healthcare, but we'll never get it. And I'm really not playing with this podcast. I also don't know. Can I even curse? I don't even know if I can curse on here. Can I? Okay. I want to wrap up the episode on a high note, and I do want to switch to the Girl Den series. I don't know why I'm calling Girls Den Women Cave. What's another way of saying like women's cave? Like men's cave. You know what I mean? Anyway, the manosphere is going to hate me once I start reviewing sports. So Girls Den. So I'm putting this out there because I know she's listening because she's a day one. Jasmine, I'm putting it out there. I need you to help me with this sports stuff because I know you would be the best co-host for the sports section. You know more than me, but you love this stuff just as much as I do. So I'm just putting it out there. No pressure, all the pressure, that next episode you're coming on to help me with the sports. So let's just get into it. I feel like because it's NFL season, basketball season wrapped up, we're in the WNBA season, and baseball season, I believe. Just because I remember the World Cup was... World Series. Like in November last year, I think. Go Dodgers. It was really good, by the way. Freddie Freeman, I know everyone, I love him, but I call him Grand Slam Freddie because I watched him do the Grand Slam at the World Cup last year live, and it was absolutely amazing. So I call him Grand Slam Freddie. I don't know where I'm going with this, but I think sports now more than ever, I personally feel like it's at peak. And when I say at peak, I feel like there's a lot more people like myself who were never really engaged, never really like actively watching it on TV. We're intrigued now. I don't know if it's because the marketing of the players are getting better. And so they're getting more visibility. And so we're able to figure out if they're relatable or not. And a lot of the times they're a bit more relatable than we think. But there's been a whole shift in like what is a celebrity. And I feel like we're less focused on like actors and singers and we're more focused on sports. So I'm like, I don't really know why, because obviously I'm new to it. But as a newbie in this field, I truly think it's because of the sense of community. Sports brought a sense of community to me. And every time I talk to someone else, even if they like a different sport that I may not be interested in right now, like golf, I understand the passion behind it. I know I joked about Jalen Hurts earlier, but I'm dead serious. I'm so excited to see him on the big screen again. And Jasmine, I'm ready to watch him with you. But I just want to say something about the WNBA. The WNBA, I have been hooked. I'm hooked. I have been watching a ton of games, especially LA Spark games. They just won it the other day. They won against Dallas by 1 point, and it was an amazing game. And it just made me think, where does the WNBA stand today? I feel like last year it was such a breakout year for women in sports. I think the Olympics helped. I think new rookies coming into the field like Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark helped. I also think other athletes watching these sports helped too, right? But I don't think we should dismiss the greats, such as like Elisa Leslie, Maya Moore, Sue Bird. There's a lot of conversation, I think, right now in America about who is the GOAT basketball player. For the NBA, it's LeBron James for now, and then you'll kind of see over time when he retires, who's the new face. There were talks about a couple people like Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man. See, I know my stuff. But there were talks last year that he would be the new face. But he's been very vocal about how he doesn't want to have that responsibility, which I get. To be a face of a sport like LeBron James, you have to have incredible discipline. Like, you've got to be like, I think LeBron James now, you're seeing a lot more of him because he's closer to retirement. If you're the face of something, you do need to be buttoned up. You need to be media presentable, but you also have to have some sort of relatability to you. And I think like LeBron's upbringing, like when you hear about him from Cleveland days, I was watching this documentary on him, and he had a really challenging upbringing. He grew up in poverty in Ohio, raised by a teenage mother who struggled with finding consistent work. The rags to riches story, I think, is very inspiring and relatable to a lot of people in America, because a lot of people in America have the same experience as LeBron James. And so he's the NBA's GOAT right now. But the NBA's been around since the 40s, right? So when we think of the WNBA GOAT, I think it's more tricky. Well, the WNBA has only been around since 96. I think it's too soon. Because it's 2025, 96. Oh my gosh, Dad, do the math. Is that 30 years? Is it too soon? Like, do you need to? Maybe not, actually. When you put it like that, that's kind of a long time. Because the only reason why it's a very weird thing for me is because Cheryl Miller is a basketball player that I really like. Now, Cheryl Miller did not play in the WNBA. She's very much like a very famous college basketball player, kind of early due to like knee injuries in the 80s. But she has had a significant impact in the league. I mean, she was the head coach for the Phoenix Mercury for a few years. And I believe they even made it to the playoffs or maybe won a ring. I'm not sure, but she has been involved, but she just never got to play. And so everyone is saying she's one of the greatest basketball players of all time. And if she had a chance to play in the WNBA, I do believe she would be solidified as the GOAT. I mean, she dropped 105 points in one game in like high school. And also, fun fact, if you know who Reggie Miller is, Reggie Miller played for the famous Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls, and he was, one of the starting five, if not, I think, like the second best player, right? Well, that's his sister. So Reggie Miller is a famous basketball player for the Chicago Bulls. And Reggie Miller's been known to really give his sister a lot of credit, even saying that she's better than him. So the question that I have is, can someone who didn't play in the league but is a very well-known and respected basketball player be the face of the WNBA? I think this is a very unique case. Let me know in the comments what you think. Can Cheryl Miller be the face, or do we have to wait for a bit more of the young people to get more established as the rules and the skills develop in basketball, period? Regardless if it's the NBA or WNBA, because I think we're both, wow, it just hit me. I think we're trying to figure out who's the face of the NBA and WNBA. Very curious. Do you think it's the young up and coming, like Caitlin Clark's, Angel Reese's? Do you think it's more of the established vets, I would say, like a Asia Wilson? Or has that person just not come out yet? We'll never know. Guess we'll just have to pay attention and see. I think it's all really exciting. I think it's all really fun. I can't wait to watch, and I want everybody right now, type in www.wnba.com, and guess what we're going to do? Let's buy some tickets. Let's buy some tickets and let's go to some games. I went to the Lynx and Sparks game back in July, and It was electric. The environment was amazing. The people that go are fans. So when you're really sitting in the crowd with fans, you feel the energy. The energy just feels so different. But on that note, this has been a really fun episode. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. Yay, yay, yay. Some of the stuff did get deleted. I did give multiple shout outs throughout. But one in particular, I just want to shout out my friend Nabs, who is an amazing mom to little baby. I won't say the name because we're keeping privacies over here, but it's my little, I don't even want to I feel like really protected of the baby because I don't even want to say if it's a boy or girl because like we're very protective over here. We're not putting babies on the face. But I just want to give a shout out to Nabs. You're doing a great job. And I understand there's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot as a new mother. You're seeing all the horrible wars, all the kids that are being misplaced. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. And so to the people like Nabs who are new moms and embracing this new world of chaos, keep going because you're doing an amazing job. And that's what I said earlier when I was going off about republicanism, which I'm not actually putting in the podcast because half of it got deleted. I talked about the Israel-Palestine. It's just one issue I will crash out for. I will die on the horse for Israel-Palestine. I don't care. My friend Nams and I talk at length about this, and she posts such educational stuff and I'll admit, very, very difficult things to view. Videos, articles to read, very tough, but I think it's what helped me really understand a bit more of the conflict that I wasn't privy to before. So another reason to educate yourself, y'all. Get out there, enjoy the sun, get vitamin D. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do anything. Screw them. Yeah, and that's all I got for you today. See you next time. Bye.